FY22 earnings conference call of Coal India, hosted by Motilal Oswal Financial Services Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then zero on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Vishal Chandak from Motilal Oswal Financial Services. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ravija. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the third quarter FY22 earnings call of Coal India Limited. This is Vishal from Motilal. I would like to thank Shri Pramod Agrawal, Chairman and Managing Director of Coal India, for giving us this opportunity to host him for the call. So, without much ado, I would like to hand over the floor to Mr. Agrawal for his opening remarks, followed by which we would open the floor for Q&A. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. We have completed third quarter and we have announced our results. To my understanding, despite the difficult circumstances in which we were working, our performance in last 9 months have been significantly better than last year. We must keep in mind that while evaluating this performance, we must keep in the mind that the first 3 months were very difficult for Coal India because there was very difficult. The time was very difficult because of COVID situation, and we lost many of our miners, many of our officers in that time period. Then secondly, the rainfall in our area was especially very high this year. On one day in ECL, there was a rainfall of about 400 mm, and this resulted in submergence of almost all the mines of ECL. And in ECL area, for a couple of days or maybe a week, there was almost zero production because none of the mines were in the condition where we could have operated. In other areas also, the rainfall was very heavy. Despite that, our results are quite satisfactory. And today is a great day for us because today we have surpassed the dispatch that we did last year on 31st March. And we are looking forward that this year the dispatch will be ever highest, much higher than anything that we have achieved till now. And I am targeting that the dispatch will be in the range of 660 to 670 million ton. Secondly, our production this year also is likely to be very high. We are already about 25 million tons ahead of what we did last year in the corresponding till today. So I am looking forward that maybe we will end up this year with a production of more than 630 million ton. We are targeting that we should try to achieve 640 million ton, but that is a slightly difficult target, but we will put everything to achieve this. We have supplied huge quantity of coal to coal's power sector, and I think that dispatch this year compared to last year is 17 to 18% higher than what we did last year or any other year which was a normal year. If we compare the dispatches to non-regulated sector also, we are maintaining a dispatch of about 3.25 lakh ton per day, and which is more than what we did in FY20 or FY19. In FY21, definitely we had given slightly more coal to non-regulated sector because the demand in power sector was less. However, today everybody wants that coal should be supplied by Coal India because our prices are very low compared to international market. Replacing the whole thing in a year is slightly difficult, but in coming years we will definitely increase our production. And if our performance remains good in first quarter of next year, which I expect that it will be, then perhaps in next year that a lot of demand or lot of import that is taking place can be replaced by Coal India. With this opening remark, I would like you to ask questions so that we can explain if any doubt is there.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to please limit their questions to 2 per participant and use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Prashant Kumar Kota from Dolat Capital. Please go ahead.
Sir, good evening and thanks for the opportunity and congrats for a good set of results. Sir, my question is regarding the pricing of G1 to G5 grades, wherein earlier we had some flexibility, to keep the prices of these grades on some discount to import parity basis, etc. Where are these prices now, and what is the thought process in thinking around these prices? Because international prices are quite high. So just wanted you to know your thoughts and latest situation on this, sir.
See, from G1 to G5, the availability of coal in Coal India is very less. Most of this coal is given to NRS sector, and which is linked to their end use. And then secondly, it is based on linkage auction. Just because the international price has increased, we cannot increase that price suddenly, breaking the contract. But a small portion of which it is auction, there they are getting very good premium, and their price will be also considered whenever this price, overall price increase takes place.
Okay, sir. Understood. Thanks, sir. That's it from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Amit Dixit from Edelweiss. Please go ahead.
Thanks for taking my question, sir, and congratulations for a good set of numbers. I have 2 questions. The first one is on the status of wage negotiation, where we are now, when we expect this to be completed, and also if there is a possibility of price hike in next 2-3 months. That is the first question. The second one is a more bookkeeping question, essentially on receivables that you have on books as on January end, or if you can mention for February 15th, that would be great. Thank you.
Coming to your first question on wage negotiation, yesterday we had the third round of negotiation, third round of meeting. I don't foresee wage negotiation getting concluded in next 3-4 months, but definitely we will try to conclude it by end of FY23. It depends how it goes and what are the stand that both of us take. So it will be very difficult for me to give you the timeline for it, because never before wage negotiation has been completed in 1 year time. Only once it got completed in 10 months. It generally takes slightly longest time, but we are very keen that it should be concluded well in time, and maybe by end of FY23 it will be concluded. The second thing is price hike. I'm trying to bring everybody on board, and for me every day is critical. I hope price hike should take place immediately. It has become very urgent for Coal India, and for certain subsidiaries it has become so important that without that it will be difficult for them to survive. And I can't tell you what is the receivables on 15th of February as such, but it is constantly going down, and at December end it was net was 13,000. 31st December it is 15,000 crores, and it is now 13,000. And on 31st of January it was 13,000, and on 31st of December it was 15,000. And I think we should get back to that stage which was earlier by the end of March, because some of the state governments have requested us to bear with them till March end, and they have agreed that by March end they will clear most of their dues. So I am quite hopeful that we should come in the range of minus 10,000 by the end of March.
Thanks, sir. That's very helpful. I will get back in the queue.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rahul Jain from Systematics. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Good evening, sir. Thanks for taking my question. So I have a couple of questions. Firstly, on your volumes, how do we look at volumes for next year? Because this year we have sold from our opening stocks about 60 million tons. So next year, although say probably we may see a 4-5% volume growth, but on dispatch front, we may just see 1-2% growth. Is that assessment right?
I couldn't get your question. Please repeat.
Yeah, sir. So this year so far we have sold about 60 million tons from opening stocks, and that's why we're seeing this good offtake growth of about 12%. So for next year, how do you see the situation? Because our typical volume growth has been around 4-5%, and you may have to replenish your stocks and things like that. So are we looking at a flat year in volume for next year?
No. See, next year our production should grow. This year we will be ranging at 630. I am looking for a growth of about at least 10% or something in that range, because last year our performance in production was very bad in April, May, June because of COVID situation. We were producing something like 14 lakh ton per day, whereas our capacity to produce in any quarter is about 18 to 19 to 20 lakh per ton. We will try to maximize this. If we are able to perform well in the first quarter, that will give us about 40 million ton extra coal, and that itself will be adequate to propel our growth. So I am looking forward that next year the dispatches will be in the range of 700, and production should also be in that range. Yeah, you are right to one extent that this year we got a support of whatever stocks we had last year. But then there were constraints also in this year in production front because of COVID and the heavy rainfall. I don't think this will get repeated this year. If there is a COVID situation, if there is a very heavy rainfall last year, perhaps then at that point we will make the corrections. But today I am quite hopeful that we will be able to give a substantial growth next year.
Right. Okay, and sir, my second question is on your wage provisioning. So, 6 months have already passed, and have we done any provision so far? And what kind of quantum, if the last hike what we had, if similar kind of a hike happens this time, so what is the provision which has not been done so far?
We are providing about 100 crore rupees per month. It will be difficult for me to what will be the wage negotiation. But if you see all the factors which are prevailing in the economy, wage increase also depend on the growth that takes place in the economy, because that growth gets compensated. The DA thing gets the dearness or the inflation gets compensated in dearness, but the growth plus something gets reflected in this thing. So, to my understanding, this should be in the same range, but it will be difficult for me. Maybe slightly more provisioning needs to.
Sir, why I'm coming to this is because the last time when we had this wage increase, I think the total cost went up by almost like 15,000 crores. So 100 crores is, really very minuscule number.
I think it went up by about 4,000 to something crore, not 15,000. It was not 15,000.
4,500.
4,500 crore or so. So I concede that 1,200 crore or 13 crore, 100 crore may not be adequate, but we will provide something more in coming months.
Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rahul Modi from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. Congrats. Great set of numbers, and thanks for a very liberal dividend. Really appreciative of that. Sir, a couple of questions. How has the e-auction volumes and pricing been post December, and how is the demand itself from the NRS sector and our supplies to that sector been?
The e-auction thing in January, our premium was about 100%. We got about 100% premium on that. And that this e-auction total was, can you tell?
Booked quantity is 873.
In January.
Total.
Till January end, it is 86 million tons.
It is 3% higher than the same period last year.
3% higher than the last year. And up to December. And this in January, what is the?
January we are slightly less, but then up to December it is 3% higher than the last year.
We are doing slightly better than the last year, but the quantum has increased slightly 3% or 4%. But the premium in January was in the range of 100%.
And if we offer in spot more, perhaps the premium will be higher, because in spot we get much higher this. And the lifting too also has been good. It is more than what it has happened last year. I don't have figures right now, but I will tell you in a while.
Sure. So, sir, we did close to around, in the first 9 months, we've done around 83 million tons. So are you comfortable touching, obviously, more than 100 for the full year?
I am quite hopeful that we will do more than 100 and 110 million ton, which we did last year, 120 million ton, 124 million ton. I am thinking our production is increasing now. Today we have reached 23.5. Once we cross this 24, we will offer much more quantity for e-auction also. So maybe not 124, but 110 or 115 type we will definitely achieve.
Right. Perfect. Sir, on the employee cost and the contractual expenses, how do now employee cost, if you see, we've done around close to around 30,000 crores for the first 9 months. This is so any actuarial or something booked on a YOY basis. Anything?
Yeah, there was a provision of about 800 crore rupees for CPRSME, means for medical after retirement.
Okay, 800 crores. So this is a provision. This is non-cash, is it?
This is non-cash.
And this, sir, over and above the 800, we've done 600 crores of wage provision.
Yeah, that's right.
So wage provision we've only done for 2 quarters.
400 crores UPS, sir. That's what the first million.
Pardon?
Please repeat. Yes, Rahul.
Wage revision we've done only for 6 months. We've done 600 crores so far, is it?
Or we've done from July, since from 1st of July, the wage revision is applicable. So we have started from 1st of July only.
Okay, perfect. And so, how do you see the contractual expenses? Because obviously, due to fuel price hike, there has been a constant increase. So, how you see this normalizing at what level? Obviously, subject to the input cost. How do you see this moving?
I think per ton basis, this will normalize at this level. But one doesn't know where nobody expected that the petroleum prices will breach the $100 mark. And it has not breached yet, but it reached to $96, $97 per barrel. Nobody expected that. There has been a significant impact on our expenditure because of diesel. I think in the 9 months it has been contractual plus our own diesel consumption. The extra expenditure will be more than 2,000 crore rupees. So, but it should not. 700 is for our consumption, plus contractual about 2,000 crore rupees has taken place. And in coming months, I don't see that it will likely to go up, but I can't make any comment on that. If our production increases, that is something different. But diesel prices increase if it takes us further, so it will impact.
So now this would be a good enough reason for the long-awaited price hike. What's your view? So we've been constantly asking you the same question again and again.
I think I should do it tomorrow, Rahul. But then the crisis that is going on in the country, because of this, all the stakeholders are not on board, and unilateral decisions are not possible in these sectors.
Right. So last question from my side before I get into the queue. So in terms of restocking at power plants, because obviously the demand from the power sector is high and it's continuing to be high. So when do you see this restocking happening? And we read a lot in the papers that the NRS sector constantly complains. So and we as Coal India get higher realization selling there. So where do you see on a sustained basis, meeting the power demand and moving towards NRS also? How do you see the situation qualitatively?
Rahul, first thing is we have not reduced the supply to NRS. That's the wrong perception being created in the market. Right. A normal year, FY20 you take, we have given more than that, 10% more than last FY20 to NRS sector. one must understand that the price of Coal India's coal is much below the market price or the imported coal price. So everybody wants that they should get this coal at by pressurizing us. But it is not correct that we have reduced the supplies to NRS. The second thing is power plant stocking. The power plant stocks at the power plant has reached 23 million tons. Besides that, about 8 million tons is there in pipeline, which is lying in the stockyards or the good sheds, etc., washrooms and sidings, etc. So this coal has already been sold to the power plants. It is just because the railways, because of excessive demand, is unable to transport them to power plant point. But that is easily available, and at this 8 and 9 million tons, if it reaches to the power plant, then their stock will reach to more than 30 million tons, which will be higher than the last year. But last year we faced this. So I think that in March again we will have to give them extra coal. From April onwards, if we are able to maintain the production level at a reduced level, but at the level of January or December also, then also there will not be any shortage of the coal. And I think the requirement of NRS, even the increased requirement of NRS, we will be able to meet.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Murtuza Arsiwala from Kotak Securities. Please go ahead. Mr. Murtuza, please go ahead with the question. Your line is unmuted.
Sorry. So I just have one question. A lot of my questions.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Murtuza. Can you speak a bit louder? We cannot hear you.
Am I more audible now?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, a lot of my questions have been sort of asked. There's only one more left, sir. What is the capex that you've been able to do against the original guidance for up to YTD, and where you think you'll end up for the full year, and any guidance on capex for FY23?
For this year, we will be doing about 15,500 to 16,000 crore rupees.
Yeah.
And in next year also, I think we should try to complete 17,000 or go beyond that. Lot of our projects for evacuation and road construction, etc., and rail line construction are in progress. Once they get constructed, we will be able to evacuate more coal. Today, the problem is not coal, but evacuation. So we have to streamline for that. And once this is done in next 2-3 years, thereafter perhaps the capex will get stabilized.
Sure. And just for 9 months up to December, how much of this 15,500 have we spent?
We have spent about 10,500 crores.
10,500. All right. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to ensure that the management is able to address questions from all participants, please limit your questions to 2 per participant. The next question is from the line of Saket Kapoor from Kapoor & Company. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Namaskar Pramod ji. Firstly, sir, I take this opportunity to thank the investor presentation team for such an elaborate and exhaustive presentation, and we hope for the continuity of that same, sir. So firstly, coming to the point that as discussed earlier regarding the buyback clarification which we were awaiting from post the budget. So any update on the tax part? And sir, secondly, as we have seen in other one private corporate where they were looking for restructuring the company because of this holding company scenario of dividend leakage and also buyback proposals getting not being having that efficiency in taxation. So can Coal India could also be looked in that angle in restructuring the same so that this holding company discounts that generally the company is getting on the bourses will get eliminated?
There are 2 questions. First is about buyback. We did try a lot for this budget to be incorporated, but maybe the department decided that no, it should not be done. We are taking up this matter constantly with DIPAM, but till the time that buyback structure is not changed or the tax structure on the buyback is not changed, it will be difficult for us to go for buyback because there is a huge leakage in that. Means about 50% will go as a tax. So I think that will not be considered prudent by the investors as well. I don't think there is any leakage in dividend payment because of the holding structure, because now that tax is completely passed to. If whatever dividend I get and I pass it to the shareholders, then we are not required to pay any tax. The third thing about restructuring, in a major way, we are not thinking of any restructuring, but we may think of listing one or two small companies like CMPDI or BCCL in coming days, but it depends on what type of financial strength they develop.
Right, sir. Actually, sir, I was asking for the holding company discount that we are getting currently. Since all the subsidiaries, Coal India is the holding company. It is not an entity holding the assets. These are the subsidiaries that are holding the coal mines. So, as we have seen in case of Vedanta, wherein they were looking to delist the company first, get it restructured, and then relist again. So, can for the value creation for investors, since it is our company trading at a huge discount, that was the thought process. So second point was on the diversification part, sir. Are we looking for into ethanol projects and flue gas as an opportunity going forward? And also, sir, on the cost reduction exercise post the implementation of FMCs, what kind of cost reductions and increasing efficiency, if you could quantify per ton on a basis that will flow to the PNL going forward, that would suffice. And then I'll come in the queue.
Coming to this methanol thing.
Ethanol.
Pardon?
Ethanol, sir. Ethanol blending program, sir.
Ethanol blending we are not getting into because there is. I have been told that there is no very established technology to convert ethanol from coal, and that is a very immense. There is nowhere in the world I have been told that there is any big plant existing. So I don't think we can go into ethanol blending or using coal for ethanol blending. But at today's rate, everything looks viable. We are thinking and we are exploring the possibility of converting coal to ammonium nitrate. And this ammonium nitrate will ensure steady supply of explosives to our companies. We are looking at it and we will be putting it to tender. If found attractive and viable, actually the Honorable Finance Minister has declared in her budget speech also that they will be granting certain concessions for it. And with that, if it becomes viable, definitely Coal India will look into it. But that will depend on its viability and rate of return, etc. And the second question that you asked about, what was
the flue gas opportunity for carbon capture program? And sir, I was seeking the ethanol projects from the grain-based distillery part. I think GAIL and other PSUs are participating. So with the cash accruals and with the kind of returns that these ethanol plants are generating from grain-based distilleries, in terms of diversification, that was my question. Not for looking for ethanol from coal. It was totally going to setting up ethanol plants and helping the government in achieving this blending program.
Frankly speaking, I have not looked into that aspect. In the last 6 months, that I just got some information a few days back that it is a very viable project and it doesn't require much of capital. But if the capital required and the returns are high, it is better for the Coal India. But frankly speaking, I have not looked into it. Let me look into it, then perhaps we can take a call on that. And the second thing, what was your another question? It's not the gas flue.
Flue gas, sir. I was looking into the flue gas opportunity for power plant. Carbon dioxide capturing programs.
Flue gas, again, I have not looked into that. Nor is a carbon capture, to my understanding, is a very viable option for Coal India. This is for the thermal power stations or the persons who are using the coal to look into. If suppose we get some opportunity by that it becomes very viable for us, then I will think. But then, as of now, no.
Right.
Sorry,
Right,
Mr.
Yeah, I'll come in the queue, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Pinakin from JP Morgan. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, sir. So just going back to your comment on e-auction prices, 100% premium to FSA coal prices. So just to be clear, sir, the third quarter implied FSA e-auction price was 1947, which on FSA was roughly 42%. So has this 1947 moved to around 2,500 rupees, sir? Because that is what 100% premium would imply.
In January, it has.
In January, so the blended portfolio has moved to those kind of realizations in e-auction.
That's right.
Yes, sir. So second point is that there is e-auction sales and then there is linkage auctions. So if you were to roughly, the FSA coal bucket was 145 million tons. Is that entire bucket of coal sales on fixed prices, or does it also include some kind of linkage auction? So basically trying to understand, is there scope for more coal to get transferred from the FSA coal bucket to the linkage coal bucket?
Can you repeat your question? I just missed it.
So basically, sir, other than e-auction coal sales to the non-power sector, Coal India has been auctioning coal linkages and supplying that. So, sir, what is the update over there in terms of have all the non-power coal sales on contract shifted to linkage auctions, or are there more to be shifted over the coming period?
See, we all are based on linkage auction. It's non-power thing I'm talking about. All are on linkage basis. Some linkages were done in phase 1, phase 2. Today what is going is tranche 5. In tranche 5, there are certain things which have expired and we have not been able to do the auction for them. But all those are not getting coal on linkage price. They have to take from e-auction.
So, sir, in third quarter, what would have been that volume which got sold under linkage auction as part of that linkage auction?
I won't be able to give you the right name.
And sir, that you will be classifying it under FSA coal or e-auction volume when you report the sales?
If we sell coal through e-auction, it will be classified as e-auction. If it is through linkage auction, it will be linkage auction. If the linkage auction has lapsed and they are taking coal, it will be classified in e-auction only.
Understood, sir. Understood.
Sorry to interrupt you, Mr.
Volumes are around 100 million tons.
Linkage auction volume in the whole year is about 100 million tons.
Understood, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vipul Shah from Sumangal Investment. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Congrats for good set of numbers. So, sir, my question is, on your slide 11, you have mentioned that 700 million tons of coal projects are progressing. So, over what time frame these are going to be implemented? So, our capacity will be 1,600 million tons after all the projects are implemented?
See, the thing is 700 million ton, but some of the projects will outlive their life also. So this 700 million ton, what we are saying, the extra coal that projects will generate, it will take another 4-5 years to come in place, not less than 5 years. So means it will not go up to 1,500, but if all this coal is produced by 2030, about 1,200 tons or 1,300 tons type of coal can be produced.
And sir, you are estimating, so you are executing coal evacuation infra projects worth 20,000 crores. But I suppose these are JVs, so all these capex will not be done by Coal India. Some of the capex will be done by your JV partners. So can you quantify how much will be Coal India's contribution in the coal evacuation infra projects?
See, when we are saying 20,000 crore rupees, it includes about 8,000 crore, remaining about 7,000 crore rupees of FMC projects. Then some of the railway lines which are to be laid in next 2-3 years, which will and which are financed completely by Coal India, that will be another 6,000-7,000 crore rupees. And the sidings, etc., which will constitute about 4,000-5,000 crore rupees. So about 18,000-19,000 crore rupees are required to be spent from the Coal India only. This is the type of money we will be investing as our own, as equity in certain projects like CWRL and CERL, etc. It will be part of the equity and plus which is fully funded by us. So it will not be equity thing, not be debt or partners' money which we are talking about.
So you will be compensated later.
If we move, suppose we construct the line fully like we have constructed this line, Sripur-Tori, we get extra mileage on that, about 60% extra mileage we get, and that money should come, and that is process and coming. So in that project alone, we are likely to get 200 crore rupees per year.
Only follow-up question, sir. No, ma'am, only this is follow-up. So what will be the return on this 20,000 crore rupees worth of investment? I'm still failing to understand that.
Okay. For sidings and this FMC projects which constitute the major part of it, we have calculated that the money gets returned in the next 3, 4, 5 years, because a part of it means the transportation cost from mining to the point of loading gets reduced substantially. So within 4, 5 years we get the return. So that type of return we are getting. For the railway projects which are essential, we don't get much of return on that, but most of those projects are being constructed through that PPP route. In that PPP company gets the return about 12% return. I don't know, 12% return we keep in that, and but those projects are essential for our coal evacuation. So if we don't do that, our coal evacuation will come to standstill.
Okay, sir. Thank you. I'm coming back in the queue. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Satyan Wadhwa from Profusion Capital. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. My question is regarding washed coking coal. For many years, since the IPO, Coal India has been talking of setting up washeries and increasing the output of washed coal. We are still only at about 2 million tons as of last quarter, and coking coal is highly profitable no matter what the economic scenario is. So can you shed some light on what the company is doing regarding this? And demand is only going up. So India imports almost all its coking coal. Why can Coal India not get to like 30-40 million tons of washed coking coal a year in the next few years?
There are two types of washed coal. One is coking and non-coking. From your question, I understand that you are talking about coking coal only.
That's right.
Washing the coal reduces the ash percentage, but it does not improve the other properties. Indian coke or Indian coking coal is not of very high good quality, and it cannot be used as such. It has to be blended. It can be used only for blending. And what the people say and what the metallurgists say, that at the best 20% or 25% of Indian coal can be blended with the imported coal to be fed in blast furnace. So whatever the demand is, a few days back there was a meeting with Steel Ministry also, and they have indicated that not more than 17 to 18 million tons of Indian coking coal can be absorbed and that too by 2030 by the steel industries of the India. So if we think that we can replace the coking coal, imported coking coal completely by Indian coking coal, that is not a possibility.
Right. But even to get to 15 million tons, by when, if Coal India has a plan, by when do you think we will get to 15 million tons of washed coking coal?
If all our washeries get constructed in time, with the extended timeline also, I think by 2030 we will be able to produce that much type of washed coal.
Right. Okay. And non-washed coal will go up in the same proportion, 3 times non-washed versus 1 time washed coal?
I couldn't get your point. 3 times, 1 time is what is
so
it?
Currently your total washed coal is 2 million tons as of last quarter, of which 75% is non-coking. So will that percentage remain the same with the washeries?
No. Most of the coking coal, most of the capacity of washing coal is coming up is within the coking coal, not the non-coking. Non-coking, there are two washeries existing, and one more is going to come, which may come next year. And rest of we are not constructing any more washeries.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt you, Mrs. Satya.
All right, thank you.
I request you to please rejoin the queue. Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kamlesh Bagwar from Prabhudas Lilladher. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, sir.
So my basic question was on the FSA realizations. So if I see the FSA realizations, they are at the, like say, in 9 years, they have increased in total absolute terms by 6 odd percent. If I take the, like say, 9-month average. And on top of that, we are seeing significant cost increases, and we are having such a high capex, like say, I do appreciate that in your regime, the way the aggression on the capex have increased, it's beyond imagination. So in that perspective, sir, we are not able to take a price hike, and that is also, like say, in last 4 years we have not took the price hike. So on the working side, like say, what price increase we are factoring in or we are asking to the ministry, because that is the only authority which is going to allow you to increase prices.
First thing, FSA price has not gone down in this quarter. I think it's
No. So I am saying that over 9 years, like say, if I see the realizations in FY13, it was 1,300 rupees, and we have in 9 months at roughly around 1,380 rupees. So it's a total increase of 6%.
Yeah, that's right.
And,
in last 4 years, we have not increased the price. That is a known fact. There's nothing. We are trying our best to bring all the stakeholders on board, and the price rise has become imminent. There is no question about it. So we are working on that, and I've been working very hard for last 1 year or so. But I think now it should happen. When will it happen? It is difficult for me to commit. Capex is required, without which we cannot increase our production and dispatch. The second thing we must understand that in Coal India, most of the expenditure is committed expenditure. Whatever extra we do gives us a lot of return. Like this quarter, we did slightly extra production, extra dispatch, and the returns have been very phenomenal. Second thing, in other areas in non-FSA area and in we get auction price. We are trying to increase those volumes. Unfortunately, this year, because of the price of imported coal being very high, the imported coal-based power plants have shut down, and we had to cover that up. And
22 million tons we had covered.
We have to supply something like 20-25 million tons for that. So in that situation, increasing the volume became difficult. But in coming months, with our increasing production, I think we will be able to increase our volumes in e-auction, and that itself can give a lot of return to us. So I'm not worried about return per se, but I'm really worried about price increase, and we must do that. That I understand.
And so lastly, on the, going back to the beneficiated coal, like in FY07, we were doing 14 million ton, and now we are doing 10 million ton. So the whole theme that we are going to put up 20 odd new washeries. So even over around almost 13 years, our volumes have gone down from 14 to 10 million tons. So what's the view on that part? Are they on a no-go mode, or they have been stopped, or what is happening on that part, sir?
There were certain issues, regulatory, some legal issues, etc., in constructing the washeries, because of which 3 washeries which we have issued LOA, we could not start. There are 1 washery we have started last year, Pathadi, and the second washery, Madhuban, we will start maybe this next 15 to 20 days, if that is started. And Dholabadi has been started. We are trying to complete this. But in CC, there is some issue of using CB land for non-coal purpose, and for that, almost the decision now government has taken, and I think it should be taken in very soon. And once that is done, these washeries can be constructed. But this is one aspect in which definitely CIL has failed to deliver on what they had promised.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Mohit from DAM Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello. Good evening, sir, and congratulations on good set of numbers. Sir, what is the status of our solar PLI bids? Is there any update which you can share?
We were out of list when it was only whatever they had declared 4,500 crores or etc. But now we are in the list, and once it is clarified and whatever they have declared in the budget, we should get that thing. And we are looking for partner. As I had told earlier, that Coal India will not establish at its own. It will look for some partner and construct a joint venture. If we get that, then only we'll go ahead with that.
Secondly, on the MDO tenders, how has been your experience with the MDO tenders, and how many blocks do you expect to bid out in FY23?
We have already done 2. The third, Chandragupta, again has been bidded out and LOA has been issued. For that, maybe the agreement or work order will be issued very soon. Subhadra and Garipalma and another one, Madan Nagar. These 3 financial offers have been opened and they are being evaluated. So I hope out of these 3, at least 1 or 2 will be awarded. We are working, but all these are very huge mines. They may look 4-5 mines, but then Siarmal itself is 50 million tons, Kotre Basanpur is about 5 million tons, and that is Chandragupta is about 20 million tons. So volume-wise, they are very huge. And all these mines, once auctioned out, means even if this 4-5 is done, it will be in the range of 100 million tons.
Lastly, sir, what is the status of coal gasification project? Will we do something in the near term, medium term, tender out some large tenders? Given the fact that there is a national coal gasification policy in place, how do you see over a medium term?
We are not implementing this in EPC mode. We are trying to implement in BO mode. Dankuni tender was out, but there are certain complexities because of which it is taking time, and I don't know what will happen to that tender. But rest of the 2 tenders have been issued. We are waiting also for the government's clarifications about what type of subsidy they are going to provide or what type of support they are going to provide. Once it becomes clear, then the viability can be established, and then perhaps it will be possible to move forward and define the timeline.
So which are these 2 tenders?
One is ECL and SCCL. ECL and SCCL.
Okay, sir. Thank you and all the best, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rashi Chopra from Citigroup. Please go ahead.
Thank you. So what is the cash on your books, net cash on your books as of December?
As of January end, I know it is about 30,000 crore, and as of December end, it was 28,000 crores. Hello?
Yes, okay. So got that. Thank you. So second thing is on the e-auction prices. You mentioned that the premium was 100% in January. Is that still persisting through February as well?
February, I don't have report right now, but Director Marketing will request if he has got some figure, he will tell you. But in January, we did got 103% thing, and that was about for 8 million ton coal or just 12 million ton coal. And in February, do you have data?
February, no, I have not finalized it, but it will be more than 12 million tons.
In February, he's saying it will be more than 12 million tons, and the rate will be in the same range.
Okay. And do you anticipate that the situation at the power plants in terms of the inventory gets better in the course of the next few months?
It is getting better. There's no doubt it will get better because there is 23 million ton already there in powerhouses, and 8 million ton, as I mentioned, is there in pipeline. Means it is not just, it is extra coal that is lying in the goods sheds and washeries, etc. of powerhouses. So we have already sold that coal. Once it reaches there, it will become 31-32 million ton, and we are increasing. The accretion is taking place every day. And I hope in April, May, June again, our production will remain good. And in that situation, there should not be any shortage of coal in powerhouses this year.
Got it. Okay, just one last question for me. You said that you had a meeting for the wage negotiations yesterday. What is the ask from the unions at the moment?
at the initial stage, the asks are like sky. They're asking for 50% increase in everything. So those asks have got no meaning.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Thank you, sir. That's it from me.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Hemal, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Sir, thank you for the question. Just very quickly, what is the cash on the book as of December 31st and the debt that we have?
There's hardly any debt. Cash is about 28,000 crores. 28,000 crores.
Okay, then.
And we have removed all the short-term borrowing. There is a long-term borrowing which gets reflected because of those railway projects of the CERL and CWRL. It's about 3,500 crores.
So just one final question. The rest is all answered. Is in case we are going to continue with a 16 to 17,000 crore capex next year, and if the price rises don't happen, the wages do have to increase as per your negotiation. Do the additional capex still continue, and you will borrow for the same, or how do you, or is it a capital allocation where capex gets the front end investment over the dividend policy? How does it work in your mind? If you can shed some light on it.
Giving any commitment about future will be difficult, but what I think, there is no reason that prices will not increase. Prices will have to be increased, otherwise coal production in the country will get suffered. Because some of my subsidiaries are also already feeling that pinch, and hence that will happen. But in a hypothetical situation, nothing happens, then we are at the zero debt company, and we can leverage our balance sheet very easily at a very low cost. So that is not a bad option. We will do that.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Amit Dixit from Edelweiss. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for taking my questions again. I have just two questions. The first one is on incentives. Earlier, we used to get incentives in fourth quarter, but last year we forgot it because of COVID situation. So this year, do we? How much incentive can we expect in fourth quarter? That is the first question.
It's not there. After that,
we had waived the PI. That is, I think you are asking about performance incentive because no other incentive is there in Coal India. That is there till March. That waiver was given till March, and after March we are going to that's there.
Okay, and another bookkeeping question: what was the cash flow from operations in for the 9 months FY22?
Cash flow from operations, perhaps. Therefore, you can tell. Operation से ही ज़्यादा cash flow आया. I won't be able to tell you right now.
Around 16,000 crores.
About 16,000 crores.
Yes, 16,000 crores.
I will send you this answer. Okay.
Okay, great. Thanks and all the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rahul Modi from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Just quick two questions. Sir, one on the employee cost. So how is the attrition rate panning out as we speak? So you and given the attrition and post the wage hike that has to happen, so you see normalization of the employee cost and that not increasing going forward. That is first. And second question is sir, regarding the 3,000 megawatt of solar project that we were planning to do. Sir, any update on that, please? Thank you so much.
First thing, attrition of the employees, that is going as we had predicted because there is no production involved in that because the retirement age is one thing which is fixed. It is not decided by God, it is decided by man. After wage hike, attrition will take place, will continue, and because of certain provisioning this year, we have seen slight increase in our employee cost. But in coming years, it is likely to reduce further because we had not provided earlier for this CPRSME, means post-retirement medical benefits, for non-executive, and secondly, there was some provisioning to be made for gratuity also. Because of that, we had to make some provisioning this year and last year as well, last quarter of the last year as well, and so there is some this. I won't be able to say that this reduction or the reduction in manpower will be adequate to compensate completely for the completely for the wage hike that is likely to take place, but that wage hike will not significantly the PAT of the country. That much I am quite sure.
Right, sir. Thank you. And last, sir, on the 3,000 megawatt of
3,000 megawatt thing, we have already placed order for 190 megawatt. 90 megawatt is in pipeline, which the order can be made very soon, and another 150 megawatt is in pipeline. We were bidding for this from in whatever market we are getting. This except for 100 megawatt, rest of the thing is for our internal consumption. We were bidding in whatever discounts were coming forward and trying to get that. But unfortunately, the market has been fluctuating and the taxes, etc., have increased substantially. So we have not been able to, we have not been very successful in that. Now we are planning that we can have solar power plants in our own land, which is lying vacant, and perhaps with that, the cost of generation will come down and we can bid. So that we are planning.
Great, sir. Thank you and all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Saket Kapoor from Kapoor and Company. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Dhanyavad, sir. Sir, coming to the point of this staff cost versus the attrition part, sir. So today's employee strength, the X number, what is the reduction we are expecting for this year and for the next financial year in the absolute number terms?
The net reduction in the manpower is in the range of 14 to 15,000. This year again it will happen, and next year again that will happen.
Right. And sir, on the setup of this employee cost, sir, looking at the size, the projects we are contemplating and the way the production ramping up, sir, being a government organization, sir, is this going to be the employee cost structure permanently, that a fair share of the revenues goes towards the payment of employee costs? We can understand the social obligation, the duty, and government being the owner, but then you are also in the listed space and you have your minority shareholders to also accountable for. If my point is correct, sir. So, sir, in that case, the ratio of employee cost to the total revenue stands slightly unexplained in that sense. So, if you could explain to us going forward, is this the same ratio going to be? Because, sir, as you have told, कि जब अपने revision के लिए जा रहे, their ask is 50%. And as and when we go for an increase in the selling price, they would be putting pressure again for revision or in that correlation. So what is the thought process and how is this cost going to plan out, say from today at 630 to 1 billion and then above, over and above that? So if you could explain.
Saket, the employee cost has remained fairly constant in absolute terms over the last 4-5 years. If you see the number, it has remained almost constant. There might have been increase 1 or 2%, 3% or something like that, but the employee cost has not increased despite increase in DA, despite increase in their increment that takes place every year. So if we increase the volume, that employee cost is not going to increase in the same proportion. Today we are getting more than 70% of our production through outsource mode. So we are not dependent completely on our permanent employee to increase the production, nor are we planning to induct more manpower just to increase the production. That again we are not doing. So there is no reason why the employee cost percentage in the total expenditure should not reduce in coming years. It will come down substantially in over the years. Our employee strength will stabilize somewhere near 1 lakh or something after maybe 6-7 years. So that is the thing that is likely to happen. So in long term, employee cost is going to reduce. Whatever capex that we are doing is not requiring extra manpower. If we are constructing FMC, etc., they are being maintained by the contractor in the initial 4-5 periods, and thereafter we are outsourcing the maintenance part and operation part to the private sector. So there also we are not engaging extra manpower. So slowly the cost of the employee as a percentage of the turnover is likely to reduce substantially.
Sir, then what is the key reason for such kind of valuations we are commanding, sir? If you look at your presentation, I just putting the thrust again, sir.
That is an enigma to me also. Why the share market is not? Maybe this is because it is a fossil energy, and people are not liking the fossil energy companies all over the world. Fossil energies are being valued at much lower, and secondly, maybe because it is a government company, and sometimes government takes steps which are not appreciated by the stakeholders, so the shareholders. Because of these reasons, perhaps we are undervalued.
Sir, if I may, yeah, ma'am, if I could make my follow up and then conclude, ma'am, with permission of the chairman.
Please go ahead.
Sir, as I was putting the thrust on the restructuring part, sir, when we look at the structure for Coal India, it is all the subsidiaries and Coal India is the holding company. Correct me there, sir. So is that could be a reason that a holding company discount is prevailing sharply over the market capitalization, and we should contemplate things like what Vedanta was looking forward, just to get it first delisted and then again yes, sir.
Saket, on this topic, we can discuss why Vedanta was doing and why not we should do. These are not something we can discuss openly, and you know much better than me. Why Vedanta was doing, why it was undervaluing the market, why it was trying to sell it at much lower price. These are known facts. And secondly, I told you it's not because of just because of this. Why NMDC is being valued so low? So these are the considerations which we have to pass. We can discuss this thing sometime offline.
Definitely.
We can discuss it.
Sir, I am in Kolkata, sir. I will come down and
take that time and come down.
Yes, sir. I will do that, sir. Thank you for the gesture, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Faisal Hawa from SG Hawa and Company. Please go ahead.
Sir, will we continue to outsource our contracts for like we did to Power Mech, etc., and keep on reducing our staff on the roads? Will this accelerate like anything now, or we will continue with our own staff further up?
I couldn't get your point. Can you repeat the first sentence?
So can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. My question is that we have been, outsourcing most of our extraction and other contracts to third-party contractors like Power Mech projects, etc. So will this continue as a trend where we will try to reduce our employees on the books?
See, our employees are reducing. I am not planning to increase it substantially. So extra production has to come through outsourcing. So that is the plan of the company.
So then why are we not issuing more tenders for the same in other mines also?
Not many tenders.
Okay.
You see number of tenders finalized for the last year. We have created extra capacity of excavation and transportation.
Okay. And what could be the savings in terms of crores of rupees in say 2 years or 3 years then?
Giving numbers, etc., to such a thing will be difficult. But about 75,000 people are producing about 70,000 coal. 70% of our production, and about rest of the manpower is producing 30%. So I don't have right now, but we have got those figures. What is the cost per ton from the departmental labor and from the outsourced labor? Do we have that? Can we calculate that? I can get it calculated and then send it. I don't have it right now.
No problem, sir.
And sir, I mean, efficiency-wise, you feel that the third-party operators' labor is much more efficient than ours. That's for sure.
Let's talk in all these things offline.
Okay, but I must admit that you have given a very candid con call also, and within the government's constraints that you have guided the investors very well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kamlesh Bagmar from Prabhudas Lilladher. Please go ahead.
Yes. Sir, any update on the aluminium project?
Yeah. We are working hard for that. We have got approvals, etc. from Odisha government. We have requested them to give us mine on nomination basis. Once that is allotted, then we'll go ahead with it. It is a time-taking process, but to my understanding, every stage of aluminum is a profit-making venture. We can sell bauxite and make profit. We can sell alumina and make profit. And we can make aluminium and make profit. So I think this is one project on which we are seriously working. Whether we succeed or not, that is a different question.
I believe the DPR and all has been made, sir. How much?
DPR means PPR has been made, including powerhouse. It will cost something like 27,000 crores, but it will be based on leverage thing, and we are not going to invest everything as we do in generally our own projects.
Okay. And how much, like say, share or equity would be there?
We are planning that we should hold a majority stake, because otherwise on nomination basis getting the bauxite mine is not possible. So we are working in that line, but it will depend when the partner is inducted that what he wants.
Okay. And lastly, sir, your other expenses has increased a lot, sir. Like it's an increase of roughly around, if I see 18% year over year, while our production has increased almost like say 4.5%. So what's the reason for that?
Other expenditures.
Or say miscellaneous expenditure which you got.
One thing is that environmental and tree plantation has increased. Higher charges have increased. But I won't be able to give you the details why it has increased. Maybe I will request the Director of Finance. We don't have Director of Finance right now, the CFO, to send it to you separately.
Okay.
Volume increase has increased. Actually, detail दे देंगे अभी हमको नहीं कर दे पा रहे.
Any more question or?
Thank you. We do have a question from the line of Vipul Shah from Sumangal Investment. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. So what will be your employee strength 3 to 4 years down the line?
I think we should reduce 14 to 15,000 per year. That is the likely reduction. This year we are likely to close at 2,45,000. So whatever time period you keep in mind, you will keep on reducing by 14,500.
So means that would result in how much reduction in as a percentage of revenue, the employee cost? Any ballpark figure, sir?
In general, if you don't take into account the events like price, wage negotiation, etc., or any other increase that suddenly takes place, like gratuity was increased by central government, then it will remain almost constant.
It will not get reduced.
Maybe
marginal reduction may take place here and there, because there is an increase of about 3% every year due to increment. There is further increase of 1 or 2% because of the promotions, etc. 1% you can take on average, and then the DA thing gets compensated. So as a person, in real time it will get reduced, but in absolute term, in that numerical sense, I don't think there will be serious reduction in that.
And so lastly, regarding this fertilizer project, what will be our investment and when is it likely to be operational?
There are two sets of fertilizer project. One is HURL and one is TFL. In HURL, the total expenditure is about 16,000 crores. So our share is about 33%, and of that means about 1,400 to 1,300 crores. And in TFL, again, the total expenditure is about 13,000 crores, and so it will be about in the 1,300 crores. That is the total capex that is likely to take place. And one thing we may say that the capex has taken place this much. This also includes the proportional investment that we are making in HURL and TFL and taking loan there. So in absolute outgo terms, with this 15,000 crore will not take place in actual terms.
Okay, sir. Thank you and all the best. And sir, I have many questions regarding your employee cost, but you will not be comfortable discussing this. And so you have suggested we can take it offline. So whom should I contact for your time for these questions?
You consult company secretary, Mr. Vishwanathan. He will arrange the thing.
Thank you very much, sir, and all the best for the future.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ashish K from Centrum Broking. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for the opportunity. So two questions from my side. One is on e-auction volume. So when you spoke about Jan Feb, which is around 100% premium, so when will it start hitting our PNL?
Next quarter, because actual lifting will start in about 30-35 days.
So as of now, if I look at from October, in fourth quarter, actual thing will start, which we have already booked in November, December type.
Yeah, that will start getting reflected in the fourth quarter.
And what was that percentage, sir? Is it more than 45%?
Definitely. On the average, this year we have got something like 60%.
Yes, more than that.
More than 60%.
8% around, but then it's okay.
It's more than 60%. So till December also it was more than 60-70%.
Okay. And in terms of volume, you are saying that fourth quarter e-auction volume, which will be reported in PNL, will be higher than what we reported in fourth quarter last year. That's right?
It will be reaching. He's talking about in the terms of lifting. Because if the lifting takes place, it gets reflected in the PNL.
So last year it was 29 million tons, sir, in fourth quarter. Yeah.
Pretty much higher than that.
We are expecting slightly more than that.
Okay, that's great. And sir, secondly, on employee cost, obviously you must be making some increase in that and taking provisions for that. So what was the rate at which we are making provisions in our employee cost as of now?
What we are making right now is about 100 crore rupees per month.
I'm talking about, sir, like, their ask initial was 50% increase. So is it possible to quantify what percentage increase we are taking into account while making provisions?
I won't discuss that thing.
No issues.
Let's affect our negotiations.
Yeah. Thank you, sir, and all the best. And really you are doing pretty well. Thank you, sir. And just we are waiting for the ultimate thing which you also are waiting for me.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kamlesh.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the last question for today. I would now like to hand the conference over to Mr. Vishal Chanda for closing comments.
Thank you, everyone, for joining this call, and thank you very much, sir. I think this was a very, very candid conference call that we had for a very long time, and I'm sure investors will appreciate that. So I would hand over the floor to you for your closing remarks.
Thank you, Vishal. Thank you, everyone, for being so patiently hearing for me. Sometimes I become slightly longish, but then to explain the things, one has to put some words on that. Thank you very much for hearing me so patiently. Thank you. And I would like to meet you people physically. Maybe soon we will be able to travel to Bombay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. On behalf of Motilal Oswal Financial Services Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.